Hi, welcome back to the Codeigniter series. Now, previously, if you have seen me doing the delete commands on the shifts, so we were not able to delete it unless after few tries. Excuse me. Now, what was the issue there? So the issue was that we were using the encryption library. Let me quickly show you where we have loaded that. Inside the auto load, we were using the encryption library. So what this was doing is basically the encryption library sometimes generates the leading or trailing slashes, the forward slashes or unwanted characters that Codeigniter does not allow. So what we need in order to overcome that is instead of loading the encryption library, we should use the encrypt library. Now, there is one more problem with this library. If you are using the PHP version 7 and above, 7 above more than 7, I think so, then the mcrypt library does not come by default with the XAMPP in PHP versions. So what you need to do is by default, you will have to manually include the mycrypt library into your XAMPP folders, extensions, and then allow it inside your php.ini. All right. So instead of just using the encryption, we are now going to use the encrypt library. So what else do we need to do in encrypt library? It also generates the leading forward slashes. But in order to ignore that, what we need to do is basically we have to create a new class inside our libraries and name it as my underscore encrypt and extend it with ci underscore encrypt. So what it does is basically converts the plus signs, equal signs, and forward slashes with the signs that are allowed by the Codeigniter framework. So remember this plus sign, this equals to sign, and these are the permitted URLs that Codeigniter does not allow. So how we can see our permitted URLs from here? Let me show you uh, permitted parameters. There we go. So you can see that we this forward slash is not allowed inside the Codeigniter in the URL, whereas this is the backslash, not forward slash. But still, this backslash means in the URL that there is some another parameter or some another URI after this thing. So this indicates like shifts, and shifts has a method called index. So that's why Codeigniter sometimes gets confused and it actually redirects back us to the page from where the initial request was generated. So in order to overcome that, we have auto-loaded the encrypt library instead of encryption, and this encrypt library still does the same, but we need to extend our ci underscore encrypt library with my encrypt class. So this class is available if you Google it and just type in my underscore encrypt dot php Codeigniter. Alright, so here is it. If you Google it, Codeigniter URL encrypt not working. So this will give you an answer for this to extend your ci underscore encrypt with this class. So this will automatically removes the forward slashes and converts it into some kind of characters that are actually allowed in the Codeigniter URL. Alright, so with that said, we have just figured it out how to fix that, but still I am using the PHP version 8.1. So my script is not does not comes by default with the PHP 8.1 version. So what I need to do is basically I have two options. Either I install the mycrypt library and restart my Apache server, or I can upload it on the live server. So what I prefer is basically upload it on the live server, and will show you how the things work there and how to deploy actually the Codeigniter framework to the live server. So for that, I am logged in into my account on the hostinger, and I have also created the subdomain for it. Let me go into the PHP my admin file manager, and inside here we have the subdomain named EMS. So EMS stands for employee management system. All right, so let this open. We have the public underscore HTML, and there is the folder which I have created. So by default, this will show us the default, and I will quickly delete it. Now go into our XAMPP htdocs and just create an archive of this zip file. All right, so once this zip file is completed, I will get back to you and show you how we can upload it and how we can set up it on the live server. Alright, so the file has been uploaded and let's extract it first and extract it in the same directory. And we need to configure a few more things in order to uh, actually successfully run our project on the live hosting. So let me show you what it is. So meanwhile, we actually export our database and import it on the live server. So in order to export the database, I will go into my database and click on the export and will click on export. So it has exported successfully and our file has been extraction completed. So I will delete this zip file excuse me, and I will actually delete the GitHub repository from here as well, and this idea application as well, and I will quickly select all and move them to the main directory of my subdomain. So my main subdomain is this one. Select this and move. Let's come back and delete this folder. Alright, so my subdomain name is basically uh, ems dot erpsirius dot net, and if I open it, it will give me some errors because my database is not present right now. So what I need to do is basically create the database and import our tables into it. So the database name, username, and password, I will obviously generate password and create. Alright, so the database is created. So let's go and directly go into the PHP my admin here. So we also need to set up the FTP account in order to link the FTP account credentials to the PHP Storm so that we upload the files directly from PHP Storm instead of using the FileZilla. Before that, let's import the database tables right here. Go, and it will actually import it. Alright, so the tables have been imported successfully. And what else do we need to do is basically configure the database. So first of all, let's go into the applications, config and database.php and click on edit. We have the username of, the password. We have this password and the database name is this. Just copy and paste it here, save and close. Alright, so one more thing we need to do is basically edit this config file and copy the URL of our subdomain and paste it here. And let me make a single quote, save and close. Alright, I think so that's it. Yep, everything is working now. So if I inspect it and I see no console errors, and if I try to log in, so I had this account and the password was admin. Alright, so we are into our dashboard. Let me just save it, inspect element to see if there is any console error. No console errors, and we are good to go. Alright, so next last thing we need to configure our the FTP account. So FTP accounts, and one more thing I do need to check is if this mcrypt library is working, uh, is depreciated. Alright, so I think so we need to down our PHP server. Mcrypt get IB size is depreciated. So let's go ahead and actually, before working with FTP, just go into the PHP versions, configurations, and it has 7.4. Alright, so instead of converting and downgrading our application, I think so we should actually use some PHP encryption open SSL library. And how can we do that with this? So let me quickly show you how we can do it. So it's basically an open SSL to encrypt and decrypt the strings. So search for open SSL encrypt PHP, encrypt and decrypt string PHP, and just click on the first URL. I think so this will work fine for us, and this is how we can actually convert the string into the decrypted string or encrypted one. And it's totally it has no issues with whatsoever with any kind of PHP version, and it's basically generally designed for PHP I think 7 and 7 above. So I have already created the open SSL functions for me, and I will quickly open it and grab them here into my project. Let me see where they are. Let's go into the project of right this one. Okay, new window, and search for encrypt. Maybe open SSL. Alright, so we have the encrypt and decrypt methods. So we will just replace them, copy them, and come to our general helper, and we will just paste them inside here. So obviously for encryption we have the encrypt underscore string, and we just return it here instead of just outputting the variables, so these variables are not necessary. And for decrypt we need to copy and paste it here, and obviously remove this one and return. All right, so we have it here, and we should remove the encrypt and decrypt, encrypt string and decrypt string. All right, so what next I need to do is basically actually we need to delete this mycrypt library because we have no use of it. And inside our autoload.php we also need to remove this encrypt. And one last thing what I need to do is basically let's now set up our FTP account. So for FTP accounts, search for, all right, FTP, and let's create a new FTP account. For me it would be EMS, employee management system, EMS, and let's generate a password, generate password, copy and paste it here, create, and let me just quickly set up the FTP. So I will set is to EMS, whatever the name, the password, and let me quickly go through the where we have it. Search for EMS. There we are, the username, which is this one, and the FTP account host basically. Save password, test connection, and everything should work. Alright, so everything works, mappings, so the deployment path, and we will make the root directory our deployment path. Alright, so everything works. What else do we need to do is basically now just push the files onto our server so that it works perfectly and correctly. And one more thing, just give this another try, and it says all right, so we need to set up some keys in order to work, so secret key and secret IV. So let's go into the constants and set up some secret key and secret IV. All right, so secret key first of all, and then the secret IV, and I will uh, generate, copy, secret key, again generate, copy, and secret IV, and I will upload this file to the server, reload the page, and still it says undefined value. All right, so instead of value we have string here, where it is, this one. and again this one. Reload the page, and there we go. So if I click on edit, everything should work. So it gives me the encrypted ID, whereas we do not have any forward slashes or any unwanted URL parameters that Codeigniter does not allow. Alright, so that's about it. So we have learned how we can actually configure our Codeigniter framework on the live server, how to deploy it on the live server. And one more thing, if you are still using the PHP 7 or below 7, you can actually you can actually take the full advantage of encryption or encrypt library of Codeigniter. But if you have moved forward from PHP 7 and above, then you should actually think about it of converting or encrypting and decrypting your strings. So I think so OpenSSL encrypt it will work very perfectly for any case, and this actually will not throw any kind of error in Codeigniter. All right, so that's about it, and I will see you in the next video.